Hey, how's it going? Hey, how's it going? I'm blind again, so I don't know what the hell the timer thing is doing. Anyway, so I pulled some cards and I pulled one that I wanted to pull for this reading, and then I got some other ones that I was just pulling for myself earlier, but it seems like they can sort of blend in here. So first card I pulled was from the Shaman's Dream Oracle deck. And it's Galactic Mushroom, number 24. Adds up to 6. Again, no, that's a good thing. And can I just say that what I do with the numbers, it's just the most simple newspaper horoscope version of what numerology is. It's far more complex for one thing, but it can apply to so many other things. Like I said, it's what I'm doing here, just sort of bringing your attention to it, not the fullness of the whole art, I guess, or science, whatever. Just wanted to say that. Fabulous. So anyway, Galactic Mushroom is the card. I'm sorry, but it looks like a benign xenomorph egg. It's not trying to fly into anybody's face, and kind of looks more like petals on a flower than it does tentacles or claws that a xenomorph would have. So just a passing impression. And then also inside this little bud looking thing, or I know there's a name for it, you can look it up if you want, but in there, come on, stop shining, there's a face. That is not really what you see in the xenomorphs. And also this guy looks fully, I was gonna say drowsy, but also like their eyes they seem like they're open to me, so maybe they're kind of like tranced out or something, because they are possibly existing in multiple dimensions. I will probably come back to that. But I want to read what the guidebook had to say. So, Galactic Mushroom, the divine matrix, the intricate complexity of life. And numerology. You might have been thinking and acting like you were the only one in the dream creating your life. You were the only one. Well, you're not. The Galactic Mushroom arrives as a playful yet potent reminder that you need to get with your higher power. You need to get over yourself. Sorry. No, I'm not. The universal laws are not for your benefit only. The law of attraction does not exist just to serve up your desired outcome. I mean, duh. But that's because I've thought about it a lot. It's not like an easy flip to go from being self-absorbed and not knowing any better, not knowing that there's a better way to be. Okay, that was a mistake. That hurt. Anyway, the matrix of consciousness, called Source or God, Spirit, and many other names, is intricately woven into life. There is so much complexity that the human mind cannot comprehend all of the moving parts. I have touched upon this subject similarly with my fabric, and then being in like the wash tub with all the water, and everything in it. Anyway, I just mentioned that mainly to, I don't know, it like reinforces my confidence about what I was saying. Anyway, it's impossible to see beyond what you already know. Just as the head of a mushroom is clearly visible above the soil, but not the living biome below. The thread-like mycelium of fungi form vast, intricate networks underground, connecting different life forms with one another in a kind of internet of the plant kingdom. Wow, green or gray communication. I don't think there's much chlorophyll happening if it's under the soil or in the soil. Let me just finish this, I guess. If I can get through it without interrupting myself again. Imagine the divine matrix serving the same way, connecting the individual consciousness with that of the divine. The galactic mushroom reminds you that your dreams and desires are heard. This is a call for faith and trust. Whatever intention you hold consistently, with hope and faith, first manifests in the unseen realms. So, that seems pretty clear. Your projection that you hope for and that you have faith and trust will come into being or manifest first manifests in the unseen realm. When we're talking about us, it's a thought that manifests into some form of solidity in life. And it is unseen and unknown until we speak it or create it, because it's in here or in here. And only special people can see that. You know, it's I don't know. I don't want to go into why they're special, but they're not. It's not like they're better. They just, maybe that is their area of particular skill that comes instinctive, that, you know, they can just do naturally without thought. And we all have something that we excel at, so it's kind of, for me, I think non-productive to dwell on something that this other person can do that maybe I'm not as good at, or just not haven't tried, or for whatever reason I don't have the same level of, I guess, talent at it, but I do at other things, and that if it's true of me, it's got to be true of other people too, like a lot of people. You know, that reminds me, I was listening to Dolores Cannon today, and she was a, I guess, mystic, but she did hypnotic regressions, and so, among other things, I guess. But what I was listening to was the first in, she has a series of regressions that she does with various people. I know I've heard her do it with like two different people, so at least two. And she was saying in this first one in the series of Walks with Jesus or something, I don't remember the title verbatim, but it was like the Essenes series and Meetings with Jesus or something like that. Oh shoot, I forgot to link a video yesterday. Well, I will. That's not even a pen. Come on. Where's the paper? Oh, there it is. Oh, crap. Of course, it's got it writing all over it. Mutter, grumble. Hold on a second. Okay. Link. Dolores Cannon. And the other thing. from yesterday. Well, it's not flat there. It seems I go walking in Jerusalem with Jesus, his cousin or classmate. So, okay, that actually pertains to what I have to say that the Dolores Cannon series reminded me of. Since it was the first one of the series, she was not actually talking to someone that the regressed person had remembered or brought up from memory. But what she did talk about was how she's done so many of them, and I guess people all think that I guess people were saying to her so much or so often, why am I not regressing into like Jesus or Mary or John or Nostradamus, like some famous person? And she said that they're like right now, in the here and now, comparatively to the rest of the population, famous and celebrity people don't number highly. So the odds of you being regressed and popping up as some like name famous, you know, formerly alive person is slim, or the chances are slim. Is slim or I don't even remember what I said, but either way, there's a slim chance or less that you're gonna turn out to be one of your past lives, I should say, is going to turn out to be someone famous. And that makes sense, right? I mean, there's just a way more of us, but there's like a strange dichotomy there too, because, you know, she's talking to Americans, and then some of them are like, one for sure that she got through someone she was regressing was a classmate of Jesus from, what is the place? Karam is the name of it, and it was a settlement or a village, something, but it was like a place to get educated, like the mystery school was there. And this person, when she regressed them, this individual named Sadi came up, and it turned out that this person was a classmate of Jesus at Karam. So that's interesting. And she said that we can have, some of us, because we don't all have like a whole bunch of, or the same number of past lives. Like some of us are new souls, so we haven't done it as often. I mean, just to break it down into the most basic concept of that. So, yeah, I mean, the chance that you it is as possible as you winning the lottery, I think, is what she was saying. But where was I that made me want to talk about that? I don't remember now. Well, I hope it makes sense somewhere along the line. Okay, the galactic mushroom reminds you... Oh wait, I think I might be ahead of myself. No, I'm not. Because the last thing I read was, imagine the divine matrix serving in the same way as the internet, connecting the individual consciousness with that of the divine. So the individual with the divine, which would be everything else. That's a lot of stuff. Gosh, let me interrupt myself again and talk about moving parts. And this is something else I've talked about before, and I have totally mentioned this before, but it seems pertinent to what I'm talking about a lot. There's a psychic medium named Kim Russo, and you can find her shows on like LMN channel. on YouTube, which is where I see them, but then you might see them on like Lifetime or A&E or something like that. But it's really easy to find her on the internet or on YouTube. And she takes people, what I've seen, I know she does a bunch of other stuff, but the particular thing I'm talking about is that she's had shows where she takes celebrities back to places where they've lived that were haunted, that kind of left an impression on them, and then they go back with her to help the person resolve all this, fear comes up, and it just is a show where all of these things in their life have been affected, and maybe like negatively a little bit sometimes, which happens it happens to all of us. But it's almost like going to a specific psychologist or something to get a problem dealt with, which is kind of what Dolores Cannon does with her regressions. Like, people have something that's plaguing them in their life, and maybe going to the shrink or whatever is not the thing that works, but going to her, they discover that something happened in a past life that is affecting your life now. And the example she gave was like overweight people, or people that can't get away from it, and they try and and it plagues them. And so what she discovered is that person may have been just starving in the previous life, like 8 or more of them, because we tend to repeat patterns when we're reincarnated. Allegedly. So whatever is plaguing you in this life could reach back into a previous one. And what Dolores Cannon does is she tries to at least make you aware of the problem. And she did say that just because you know of it, the thing, doesn't mean that it's just going to instantly be fixed. Like, once you become aware of it, then you have to go to the appropriate head doctor and work those issues out, because they can be changed. It just takes a while for your soul to understand that you're not in the same body that was starving, and to get off you. Because maybe when you were starving, the food wasn't like Dorito Corp and totally processed and oversalted and oversugared and overcorned and over surplus oil that the government needs to sell. They put so much suspicious stuff in our food for the worst reasons. Okay, now I'm getting all way off track, but anyway, Kim Russo in a way does something similar. So the episode that I always like to talk about is that she has the actor Shaughnessy. What the heck is his first name? Let me find out so that I can, be accurate here. BRB. All I had to do was pause it, and then the name popped into my head. Charles Shaughnessy. So I knew him from The Nanny with Fran Drescher way back, whenever that was. I guess he's in a soap opera currently now. Anyway, he went with her to this house. There's a castle in England, like a full-on landed gentry castle that his family still actually lived at, some of them. And so I guess it was a place he would visit periodically. I don't know if it was every weekend kind of thing, but he was familiar with the cousins or whatever that lived there and had the run of the place. But he didn't live there. He might live in America, or might have lived for a long time in America, which would make sense since he's on a bunch of American shows. So but I forget the specific haunted thing about the place. Well, it's kind of like all of them. It's they're returning to a place where an incident happened. So he gets there with Kim Russo, and what she discovers is that there's some familial connection that needs to be made with him, Charles Shaughnessy, and this ancestor of this property from, I mean, generations, like a long time, like when people still lived in castles, so a long time ago. And isn't that nuts that something in like the current era is the other shoe to drop for something that happened in your family in the ancient ancestral lands like hundreds of years ago, and he learned something that the relative wanted him to know, and it helped him like resolve a conflict kind of in his mind, and then also just be relieved to know that this is why this happened to him, and that he was scared, but he didn't really need to be, because he just didn't understand that the entity was trying to communicate something to him. I think that is so fascinating, because it's an illustration of this intricacy, this complexity of life. Because just because your body dies, your soul doesn't, and that's like the ghosts or the ancestors that you see when you have a near-death experience, and you go to heaven or something like that. But I mean, basically, dead people, they're still, though their bodies are dead, the people are not. Their energy still exists, the soul. Last part of this. The galactic mushroom reminds you that your dreams and desires are heard. This is a call. Oh, did I already read this? This is a call for faith, hope, and faith. First manifest. This. Okay. Slow down. This is a call for faith and trust. Whatever intention you hold consistently with hope and faith first manifests in unseen realms. Whether or not you can see it working on your behalf, eventually you see the evidence play out in the serendipitous events that work in your favor, seemingly outside of the law of cause and effect. Your most beautiful results are being birthed right now, not just for you, but for the highest good of all. So think about that. Like in the case of Shaughnessy, every life that happened between the ancestor and the current era guy, things were happening, events happened, people met, people did, and they all had some meaning on a level that we're basically not privy to, because it just would be extraneous noise to us. It like kind of doesn't directly affect us, but along the way, all those hundreds of years, events were happening, things were happening, and it led up to Shaughnessy having some kind of realization that he needed to get with this psychic to be the liaison to him and the other side of the veil, because it doesn't happen for all of us, but some of us are at the consciousness level where we're like open and able to do that kind of thing. That's just a speculation. I don't remember the specific events that drew him to Kim Russo to find out these things, but whatever it was all part of it. So just the connection between this guy and the ancestor and all that other stuff in between, that's crazy complex. Okay, so the other cards I actually pulled just for my personal self, and the first one I pulled was the crossing at number 54, breaks down to 9. We can talk about 9, but I have before, so if I feel like it's necessary, I'll talk about it in the information box. But the subtitle on initiation, on the crossing, is initiation, and that was resonating with me today because I was reminded of like when to sort of get my emotions on track about stuff and not fly off the handle, which unfortunately I sometimes still do. But it was there was a moment when it was like, it's never really appropriate to, like, you know, lose control. And I'm not talking about I'm like yelling at people on the phone, but I find myself getting irritated by events and people sometimes, and it's not always easy to behave as if I'm not irritated and bothered by them. So sometimes it comes out, and then, you know, what ensues, like, not smoothness, because then they're like, oh, you're irritated at me, now I'm irritated at you, and that just gets in the way of stuff getting done. But the things that happened today and like yesterday were things that I couldn't be like messing around with and being petty and like losing it, because I needed to be able to conduct business. I needed to be able to have these people speak to me and want to help me. So, and I always know this, but I was like being lazy or something, and then there have just been a series of events in my personal life that I've been like reminded, like, you know what, now's not the time to be screwing around anymore. Like, take what you're doing very seriously right now, because what you do is going to affect your life going forward. And that is, in a way, that sort of single-minded, it's all about me, law of attraction thing, but it's also just a fact of life. Because if I do my stuff smoothly, then rather than getting irritated and causing someone else to be irritated, just keeping it light, you know, being pleasant, and just taking things as they come and not letting irritation get to you, is going to make whatever you're trying to do happen more smoothly. So and that's an attitude I should take with everything. And then after, like, what happened today, going forward, I probably will. But I just met a number of obstacles, and a lot of them got put in my way by my own self, because I was not paying proper attention to what I was doing, because I was having distractions and letting myself pay more attention to what was distracting than the matters at hand. So luckily, because I didn't A, freak out and get scared and think the worst, and B, because I had support, which is very helpful. Makes a difference, you know, having somebody, you know, at your back kind of cheering you on makes it easier to, like, I don't know, like, be an upright citizen and do the right thing. But I managed to sidestep some, well, I mean, it would be worse than a barrier had I not been able to fix it. It just would have been like an escalating problem of like a sinkhole or something suddenly, you know, appearing in front of you or under you, and like you're not going anywhere but down. Because, yeah, anyway, I avoided that pitfall and several of them. And I have definitely gotten lazy, I guess, because I had many years where I wasn't interacting as much as I am now with as many people as I do now, to the level that I am doing it now. So it's almost like I've taken on like all kinds of like work and responsibility, but I don't feel resentful about it, because I'm not doing stuff I don't want to do. Like, that's one thing I learned with all the lazy times. I don't want to do stuff I don't want to do anymore. And if I don't freak out and get too irritated, and just remember to, you know, just brush off stuff, because really it's like don't take the bait. Everything is about don't take the bait with me sometimes. And sometimes you gotta just forget there's bait. Like, just be, oh yeah, whatever, I'm on my way doing my stuff. So I feel like I passed an initiation. And the benefit of that, the other card I pulled was number 6, Cosmic Womb. I'm getting lots of 6s and 9s here. So yes, it's that card that you can't really see what's going on too well. There's just hints of stuff in the background. But I would just call it, for this particular reading, the future womb, the unseen, as yet unborn and unknown, what is to come. And this is like a positive thing, by the way. Like, this is a birth that's going to happen, a birthing of, you know, perhaps what you've desired. But, you know, part of, I guess, showing up for your spiritual mission is, when you desire something, it's better if you desire it not for yourself, although if it comes to fruition you could partake of it, but really it's better to wish it for others, and or at least others and yourself, if you gotta be self-centered, you know. But I think the important thing is to help, you know, to assist as much as possible, or at least to not obstruct. And you don't want obstructions in your cosmic birthing to be, and you don't, I mean, sure, you want for yourself. I think it's impossible not to be somewhat selfish in some kind of way, but I have been learning that when you give, and it doesn't even really matter if it's monetary, although that's like a bigger one in our mind, in our current capitalistic world that we live in. But we I find, like, if it's less about me or not about me at all, it's amazing that, like, good stuff happens, because I think that was part of how I was able to sort of CYA or CMYA and at least get my situation temporarily resolved, and then I have time to be ready for the next wave of the same situation, which would be next month. It's a bill thing, but this particular bill, I swear to God, it's Comcast, and it's so hard to get a human being on the line. So I was able to do that, and so much easier and so much more quickly than normal. It's evidence to me that not thinking just of myself is beneficial to myself eventually. So I guess the moral is, don't worry so much about what you want for yourself, you know, kind of think about, like, maybe others first, or as well, if you can, like, cram a little bit of compassion in, you know, the urge to, you know, just be human and help another human being if you can. We've all seen it. There's been those feel-good stories on the news. You can do it. And I would posit, like, once you do it and you see the benefits, you would want to do it. Just saying. So, okay, I'm just gonna take a look if I want to talk about these here other cards that I pulled, and okay, I'm gonna talk about this one. It's Me Talks, like detox, but me, and it is, well, 3 and 9 is 12, yes, and then 12 If you add up 1 and 2, it gets back to 3. Because have you ever noticed, let me just diverge here for a second. I wish I would have noticed this when I was in school using the maths, and shut up, everyone else did and I did it. Shut up, I still got the grades. Why is that doing that? Well, anyway, me talks. Let's detox the whole me out of the thing, you know? Like I was just saying, this card is not about that, but me talks. Like, I think we could actually, I was gonna say, perhaps use a little bit less of each other's "it's all about me" in life, but hi. Okay, well, I'm almost done. Yeah, like, maybe it's not all about me, and the more, like I was just saying, we make it less about us, the better it is. So, it's really less about the illustration on this card, but the impression I got. Alright, talked about all the cards. I'm not pulling any animal ones today, because, my goodness, that's enough. And that's enough time. You get the gist. Thank you and good night.